Hello, this is Roger Earl of Foghat, and you're listening to Ground Zero Radio.
You are listening to GZR, Ground Zero Radio, the very best of Orange County's original music scene and beyond. Welcome to the show, founding member, the one and only Roger Earl from Foghat.
Awesome.
That's right, in Orange County this week for their album release concert at the Coach House, Friday, November 17th.
Hello, Michaela. I'm doing great. I've been glued together a dozen times. I've got Band-Aids all over my body. Proper Band-Aids, like surgeons sew you up and put new things in and you inject things into your... I'm doing fine. Head, hands and feet.
In 1977, their classic multi-platinum album, Foghat Live, solidified their position as rock and roll royalty. Congratulations on a lifetime of an incredible career.
Yeah, I'm one of those fortunate few in this world. I get to earn a living doing something I love doing. And I play in a great band. So actually, I've always played with great players. So I think I've been fortunate in that. They were always good players. So you learn something from it.
From their Sonic Mojo album, let's check out track number 1, She's a Little Bit of Everything by Foghat.
History. She's got it all, she's dragging me in. She's a little bit of everything. Sweet as an angel, little devil too. Hard as a brick, soft as the dew. She ain't too fat, she ain't too thin. She's a little bit of everything.
That was She's a Little Bit of Everything by Foghat from their latest album, Sonic Mojo. I have a question for you.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Come on.
Sonic Mojo, while you guys were putting this album together, and which is exciting, while you were recording this album, over the unique past several years we've had, did you guys go into a studio, or did you share files online from your own home studio?
None of this sharing stuff. That's for young people to do. We have our own studio in DeLand, Florida. It's a house. We're on 10 acres. We've got a couple of neighbors. They keep an eye on the place when we're not here. The only things we have to deal with, we've got a bear. We've got a whole bunch of deer. We have a panther as well. The only reason we know that is because we have cameras around the property, and it took a picture of, a panther. We only seen it like twice, but the bear's always running around. Huge thing, black bear, but won't bite you or anything, but he loves to get into the garbage can, so you can't put that outside. But we have our own studio, so we make as much noise as we want or not. Brian Bassett, our lead and slide guitar player, is the resident genius in the band. He produces all our records and engineers everything. Yeah, he's the bright one in the band. We're very fortunate. And no, we do it here. It's all organic. Usually this last record, it would start off with Scott Holt and I playing. And I've been friends with Scott since 2014. We've written a lot of music together. We sit down, we play, we work on stuff. Somebody will come up with an idea for a title for a song or some lyrics. Or we'll have like a couple of riffs and stuff and hang them together. But no, we don't go sharing anything with anybody else. It's like we play in our living room and make noise. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's like, that's the cool part about being in a band.
This is track 2 from Foghat's Sonic Mojo album, I Don't Appreciate You.
Self-entitled attitude, and I don't appreciate you. I don't appreciate your talk. I don't appreciate the way you walk. I don't appreciate you thinking that it's all about you, and I don't appreciate you. Every time I hear you speak, it always makes my skin start crawling. Very sound of your voice, and I hear myself start groaning. Start crawling, very sound of your voice, and I hear myself start groaning. I don't appreciate you. I don't appreciate you very much. I don't appreciate the soulless way that you look at life. I don't appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Don't Appreciate You by Foghat.
I wanted to ask you, Roger, since I'm a fan from a long time ago, and I hate to take you this far back, but tell me about getting signed, the original deal I think it was with Bearsville, right?
Yeah, we'd actually done about a six-song demo Abbey Road Studios because our manager at the time was a big Beatles fan. He figured like some of it would rub off on us. It didn't. I have to be honest about it. At best, I think those 6 songs, the way we recorded, because we were producing ourselves.
I know that one.
But it was like they were adequate at best. And actually, there were 6 of the songs were songs that went on the first album. Anyway, Albert Grossman came over to England and with the band, and Todd Rundgren was with him as well. And I rented a room, or it was a room below a pub in Islington, northwest London. And we set up the amps and stuff. And then Albert Grossman came in. I mean, I know who Albert Grossman was. Band, Bob Dylan, Peter, Paul and Mary, Janis Joplin, heavy.
Yeah, right.
We had our high-watt amps and Marshall amps up on 10 and a bit, actually. We were being kind to him. And we started playing, and Albert visibly went, oh. And anyway, we finished our songs, and Albert said, he used to do this with his fingers. He said, well, is there anywhere we can get some like tea and biscuits? I said, and I said, yeah, there's a hotel across the road. So we went over there. I mean, I knew who Albert Grossman was. I knew that if he liked us, it was like. Also, let me preface this. Our manager had shot our 6-song demo to just about every major and minor label in the world. And every one of them turned us down. They said things like, no, we like more like a country folk thing. Well, I like Carole King. Carole King was probably one of the greatest songwriters ever, in my opinion. We go across the road and we're sitting there and like waiting for the tea and biscuits to arrive. The tea and biscuits arrive. I pour some tea. The old band's there and our manager and Albert. And Albert then goes, well, hey, let's do it.
Wow.
I still knew all we had to do was be great. It's like
that's all you had to do. Just be great.
Because this is our shot. And especially as we knew that everybody else had turned us down. Even a couple of other managers had been to see us, and one of them said, Zeppelin's manager, Peter, Richard Cole, their road manager, I knew them both. They said, well, you probably need a new singer, which meant Lonesome Dave was out the window. And I went, no, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch anyway. So Albert says, well, let's do it. About a month later, he sent a check to my bank account for $10,000.
Oh, wow.
I booked studio time at Rockfield in Wales, where Dave Edmunds was doing the night shift. He worked from like midnight to about midday the following day. And then it was our turn. Well, we got there, and I was a big fan of Dave Edmunds, as was Lonesome Dave. And we met, and of course the sessions would cross over in the same studio, the same room. Dave was he was just mixing his stuff. There wasn't much recording going on. It was just, we were the ones that were recording. And it was going okay. We were getting the songs down. And there's a difference between like producing a song and just recording a song. And we would listen to Dave Edmunds' songs, and they sounded great. I can't say, I mean, they just sounded fantastic, whereas ours sounded like mere mortals, whereas Dave Edmunds sounded like this rock god.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic. It was night and day. So we had a word. We asked our manager and said, look, could you ask Dave Edmunds if he'd produce our record for us, which he did. And he said, well, I've got to finish my own record first. But he obviously liked the band, and he was familiar with, the work we'd done before with Savoy Brown. And I know that our first album wouldn't have been anywhere near as successful or as good as it was without Dave Edmunds' input. He was he's a genius. That's where it all started. Yeah, Dave Edmunds is a genius.
Drivin' On by Foghat.
It's 2 a.m., long way to go. It's dark all over, moon starting to glow. Gotta stay awake, no matter what I do. Wanna see my girl when the night is through. I'm driving on, and I gotta be strong, and it won't be long till I'm driving on. She'll be waiting for me to pull in. I'll be so happy to let loving begin. I've been away, couldn't get home. Now I'm ready, been too long gone. And I'm driving on, and I gotta be strong, and it won't be long till I'm driving on. Standing in my eye, she'll be waiting for me to come on by. Time is moving, it's getting late. I'm speeding up, no, I can't wait. I'm driving on, and I gotta be strong, and it won't be long till I'm driving. Driving on, and I gotta be strong, and it won't be long. I'm driving on.
Drive It On by Foghat.
Let's talk about Sonic Mojo. You've got some tributes going on that, like Hank Williams, correct?
Oh, yeah. My brother Colin, he was the piano player with Mungo Jerry, wrote a song called I Wish I'd Been There When Hank Williams Came to Town. And he sent me the lyrics and a few notations about where he thought like certain chords would go, which of course we totally ignored. But I loved the song, as did Scott Holt. Scott said, no, this is great. Took us a couple of days to sort of find the cadence of the, and the feel of the song. I wish in there when Hank Williams came to town. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Actually, I'm a big Johnny Cash fan, so don't get me started.
Yeah, us too, actually.
I was the only kid in Southwest London when I was 12 or 13 years old, riding my bike to school singing Johnny Cash songs. My voice wasn't quite as low as that, but songs were great. They were like, there was always a story.
Yes.
There was always this rhythm, the guitar playing through it. There was, Luther Perkins was on guitar and he had a bass player, and of course Johnny played the guitar. But it was like, I didn't always understand what the songs were about. She loves you, Big River. Why does she love you more than Big River? I don't know. It used to bother me. There was always this cool story and rhythm going through it. And he didn't have a drummer then either. But that didn't bother me too much. He had a drummer later on. But at that time, he didn't. But there was always this rhythm. And I used to bang on the table because it was my brother who turned me on to Johnny Cash, on the Sun label. And I would play on the table like with knives and forks, and Mum would say, "Stop that noise." It's not noise, Mum. Yes, it is. You're going to ruin all the good china.
Wish I'd Been There by Foghat.
I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. Some songs were sad and some were glad, but all of them sounded round. I'd have yelled like a cowboy, I'd have got so wild and loud. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. Wish I'd seen those drifting cowboys when they came to town. Hear that pedal steel crying through the crowd. To feel that bass so big and brown as old Hank sang loud and proud. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. Stetson on his head like a crown, guitar on his shoulder, making his lonesome sound. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. Stetson on his head like a crown, guitar on his shoulder, making his lonesome sound. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. Hank's long gone and how I miss him, but his songs live for us now. His country blues, his hillbilly tunes, and his lost highway sound. I'll go to Alabama some night, yeah, I'll be there in the crowd. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. I wish I'd have been there when Hank Williams came to town. When Hank Williams came to town.
Wish I'd Been There by Foghat.
Well, so I'm a big Todd Rundgren fan. So, yeah.
So am I.
Yeah, so he can do no wrong in my eyes. And I myself, I'm a musician as well as a studio guy. And so
Sorry to hear that.
I'm all about the big analog sound of 2-inch tape, you know.
Yeah, right.
And that just bleeds over on the Foghat records. Every record has what I call the big 2-inch womp. It's just big and heavy and yeah. So did you record in Bearsville on the East Coast?
We did some recording there, yes.
Okay.
And on our first album, Todd actually helped out on a number of songs. He recorded Trouble, Trouble. I played guitar and piano on that. He actually recorded that and mixed it. He played guitar on a couple of other songs. And Todd was absolutely fantastic to work with. In fact, I really enjoyed my time working with him. And I guess it was about 2 or 3 years ago, we did a show a big festival in somewhere out in the Midwest, and Todd was on the show, and I hadn't seen him since we'd worked together on the first album.
Wow.
And I went to his dressing room. This was like the tail end of COVID, so I knocked on the door, and some guy came to the door. I thought it was Todd. I said, "Todd," and he said, "No." I said, yeah, I'm Roger from the band Foghat, and Todd and I used to work together." And Todd came round, and it was really cool to see him. Yeah, Todd is he's another genius. Really great guy as well. I learned a lot from playing with him. He's a terrific drummer as well. A little known fact, but he is. Piano player, guitar player. Don't you hate people like that are really, really clever and can play everything?
Well, he made it very obvious that you could be a player, performer, and a producer and make great records. He was one of the first guys that really did that, you know, and then later cats started buying equipment and taking it home and making recordings.
You've done that.
Yeah. I mean, so that was amazing.
Time Slips Away by Foghat.
With a dying day, feeling the caress of shadows gray, turning off my thoughts and closing up my mind, leaving the chaos and the noise behind. And time slips away, time slips away, time slips away, time slips away. The dreams I have will fade in the morn. No words are needed, soon it will be dawn. Things I see, real and unreal, as daylight stops and night starts to heal. And time slips away, slips away, time slips away, time slips away. Flower, giving peace of mind. My feet on the floor, I close the blind. Gone in the daylight, another day passed. I lay down to sleep, I'm tired at last. And time slips away, 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 hey, no time slips away, time slips away, time slips away, oh, oh, oh. Time slips away, time slips away, time slips away, time slips away, time slips away.
Time Slips Away by Foghat.
I have to make a comment of what you said earlier about Lonesome Dave and like he's not the right singer for the band. I mean, good Lord, what kind of idiot would say that?
Right.
No ears at all, you know?
Peter Grant from Led Zeppelin, he said that.
Yeah.
And I took somewhat offense to it. Our bass player at the time said, "Well, you know, this is Peter Grant. Maybe we better get another singer." And I said, "No,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen." Dave was a huge part of Foghat. He was like heart and soul of it. I mean, his knowledge of all things music, R&B, rock and roll, jazz.
Yeah.
Also, I think a closet drummer. He knew every single drummer that played on every blues, R&B, and rock and roll record. I mean, he would point stuff out to me. Like, I'll give you an example. We had a day off in Chicago, and he and I went out to a local blues club, Mother Blues. This is like 70-something, 76, 77. And we walk in the door, we hand in our $3. I make a right to go to the bar and get myself a cognac and a white wine for Dave. I come back to the front of the door where Dave's standing there like with this look on his face. And he said, "Do you know that he's playing drums, Rog?" I said, "No." "Who is Dave?" And he said, "That's Freddie Below." Well, I knew who Freddie Below was, of course. Chuck Berry and Chess Records wouldn't be the same without him.
Right.
We make our way to the band stage, and they're taking a break. And we introduce ourselves to Freddie Below. And Fred looks at me and Dave like this. He goes, "You guys want to play?" He said, "Yeah." So he goes to the bar, and Dave and I take over for the next hour.
Awesome.
Yeah, he wanted to have a drink. He didn't want to work all night long.
Sure. Yeah. He wanted to take a break, and he found some cats that come in there and do it. I was going to say that Lonesome Dave's voice is the voice that me growing up, you'd always try to emulate, but no one could. I mean, he's just got such a unique sound to himself. And, when that Night Shift album came out, I was in junior high. And that was the record of records. And, when tracks came out, Drivin' Wheel and stuff like that, I mean, all those guitar players are trying to get that guitar sound. We didn't know what it was. And I still don't know what it was. So maybe you can share from a guitar player's point of view, what was he playing through?
That was Rod Price playing slide guitar.
Right. Okay.
He went through a Marshall 4x12. Yeah, Rod had magic fingers. He had a really quick vibrato.
Yeah.
So, actually, after we left Savoy Brown, and we rented a room up in northwest London, a pub, or a room above the pub. Actually, it was on the side of the pub. And we were auditioning guitar players. And as soon as Rod played, Dave and I looked at each other and I said, "Hey, Rod, do you want to go and have a drink?" And that was it. There were a number of really good guitar players that came. But, when Rod, and because he played slide, I think that was the real key to it. Dave had met him before, but Rod used to play in a band called Black Cat Bones. I hadn't seen them, but Dave had. But it was like, it was instant. And he joined the band. We didn't have any money. We didn't have any dates. We didn't really have much to offer other than, "You want to play in a band?" He said, yeah, and it worked. Eventually, Rod, I think it got, whereas I and Lonesome Dave thrived on the road. Playing live was in our DNA. It's rough when we don't play, or when I didn't play. But Rod, sometimes it was difficult for him. He was okay in the studio and stuff, but after being on the road for months on end, it was okay for the first 3 or 4 years. And then around just after we did the Fall for the City album, it started to wear on him. And after Stone Blue, and after Stone Blue, that's when he basically said, he didn't actually say it, but "I'll have had enough going on the road the day I depart this earth. Up until then, I'm going to roll till I'm old."
Excellent.
From their Sonic Mojo album, this is Black Days and Blue Nights by Foghat.
Black days and blue nights, color in your that never-ending song. Last chord fades and the last note dies. Turn around and you're gone. From the depths of your misery, somewhere deep down in your soul. Somehow, in spite of yourself, came rock and roll. Black days and blue nights, hellhounds at the door. Lost somewhere near the crossroads, ain't coming back no more. The train has left the station, and your bags are gathering dust. Well, the slide has lost its mojo, and the strings have turned to rust. Turn to rust. Yeah, the slide has lost its mojo, and the strings have turned to rust. Yeah. Turn to rust.
Black Days and Blue Nights by Foghat. Remind our listening audience where you're playing while you're here in California.
November 17th at the Coach House,
That's right. Yeah.
and a bunch of songs on our new album. We'll do a bunch of Foghat songs as well. In fact, that's what we're doing at the moment. We ran through about 6 songs from the album, from Sonic Mojo, and so far so good. We actually remembered the parts.
That'll be helpful.
Actually, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. We do a show in New York City on the 12th, and then we fly out to LA, and I think we're doing some radio and some TV shows, and then we play at the Coach House. Actually, I played the Coach House a bunch of times back in the mid 80s.
Oh, yeah. We know.
A great room, great sounding room.
I was looking through the list of albums too, and I made note of one of my favorite programs ever on radio, which was the King Biscuit Flower Hour. And I guess I missed that you had released an album with that. I got to go get that now, if I can.
They all live stuff?
Yeah.
I heard 2 or 3 of the tracks. It's very bass and drum heavy.
Yeah. Good.
Nothing to mix. It wasn't my fault. But I mean, Foghat could always play. I think that's why we put out so many live records. We've always a band. I mean, that's the fun part, playing to people. The other day we did a show in El Dorado, Arkansas. I hope I'm saying that right. El Dorado, Arkansas. And after we finished the show, it was terrific. The people were great. And I'm sitting backstage having a glass of wine with Scott Holt. And he said to me, he said, isn't this cool, Rog? You know, what job do you have when after you finished working, people stand up and clap and cheer? You know, I mean, it's like, there's not many, you know. No, I can't think of another one, actually. You have to be a musician, don't you, or a drummer. Playing in a band with other musicians is like having a conversation. With me, it's a noisy conversation, but it's the truth. That's what you do. You talk to each other. This band, I'm having the time of my life. It's great to play. There's no aggro. Nobody's a miserable bastard. Everybody loves playing. I'll give you an example. This last year, everything's gone through the roof as far as prices. You know, if you're renting bands, like we do mostly fly-ins. Occasionally we'll rent a Sprinter band if it's, you know, 200 or 300 miles apart from the shows. But we fly in everywhere. We bring our guitars. I bring my pedals, snare drum and cymbals, and DW drums supply, you know, my drum kit. But sometimes we'll be driving like 300, 400, 500 miles after the show to the next gig. Nobody moans. In fact, they even argue about who's going to drive. They say, "Well, let me drive. I'll drive. I don't want to drive." So it's cool, you know, because me being the older person in the band, I have to take naps. That's not true. I never had a problem going to sleep. I remember one of my road managers said, Roger, like, we'll be in the station wagon going somewhere, and the next he's fast asleep for about an hour, then wakes up and, you know, wants to do something. I think it's like being on the road since I was like 17 years old. You get used to sleeping and taking a nap when you can. I can lay down for like half an hour after not getting much sleep because we travel a lot and other reasons. And I'm fine. It's like my body recharges real quick. So
me too.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. You can take naps.
I can. I do.
Oh yeah, right here.
You know, I talked to Brian about it, and Brian can't do it. He says if he takes a nap, he's sound asleep. I can take naps after half an hour. I'm ready to go. A cup of coffee helps too. Real coffee, none of that.
Absolutely.
Why do people have decaffeinated? That's like, I don't know.
You are awesome to spend this time with us. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. What's that, Michaela? What a beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you so much. I'll tell my mom you said so.
Yeah. You've got to thank our mums, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all the great years and great music.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to roll till I'm old and rock till I drop. Like I said before, I'm fortunate. I play in a great rock and roll band, and I'm having the time of my life. Careful what you wish for.
You were listening to GZR, Ground Zero Radio. Follow us on social media and every Monday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Time on KOCI 101.5.